Welcome to our weekly, the weekly news podcast about data and your favorite tools. I am Joanna.
I am Russell.
On this edition of our weekly, you will find many strange and unique things that you can do with R.
You will also learn how to use MongoDB with R.
We will dig into ggplot2 and base R.
New packages and tools, and the latest R project updates.
All that and more on this episode of our weekly. Hi, Russell. Good day.
Hi, Joanna. I found a very interesting article about gender gap in Swedish mortality.
Okay.
Sweden, with its high-quality statistical record since 1748, is the natural choice for any demographic study that aims to cover population dynamics during a long period of time. Today it is common knowledge that male mortality is always higher than female. In that article, we can find that constant pregnancy and frequent childbirths had a strong negative impact on female health and survival statistics. We can see that only in the second half of the 20th century gender gap in mortality became substantial in Sweden.
Wow. Michael Hull wrote a post about US baby names. It looks like the name distribution has become more diverse over time, since the collision probability reduces over time. There is an article about mapping San Francisco home prices. A team of analysts at Urban Spatial built a model to quantify gentrification. They provided detailed tutorials showing how they visualize the results, like this sequence of panels showing the dramatic rising prices for homes in the Mission District over the last 8 years.
Yes, those maps in the post is very pretty. Joanna, do you know how to send a tweet from R?
Just tell me.
Devin Becker wrote down almost all of the strange R things. In his post, you can find strange and unique things that you can do with R. Most of them have some legitimate uses, alongside the strange ones. But the strange ones still exist. You can use Twitter R package to do sentiment analysis. It shows that the angry tweets come from Donald's personal Android. You can see where your, or anyone else's followers come from. You can see what people are up to during an election.
That sounds fun.
After reading that post, I learned how to plot random kitties. It is very useful.
Good for you. Max Kuhn wrote about the R formula method, the bad parts. It is a very in-depth explanation about R formula. He points out that some limitations of the current formula interface can be mitigated by writing your own package, or utilizing the formula package. Jason Becker wrote down his experience about his contribution to the R open source community. About contributing to VegaLite. One of his goals for 2017 is to contribute more to the R open source community.
It feels so great that more and more people begin to participate. The R Forwards Task Force is offering diversity scholarships to underrepresented individuals, such as, but not limited to, LGBTQ people, women, ethnic minorities, or those with disabilities, who might not otherwise be able to attend. If you qualify, and think a scholarship might help you get to use R 2017, the deadline for applications is April 1st.
Bob Rudies wrote an article named Candy-Coded Confidence Intervals. He plot confidence intervals with the real M&M. Bob went to the official M&M website to grab the official colors. After some site spelunking, he had the URLs for the candies in question, and managed to use a package to draw confidence intervals with M&M.
I really like the style of image in Joshua's blog post, name giving a thematic touch to your interactive chart. Christopher dig into the performance of R code. There are many tips in the blog. Make your R simulation models 20 times faster. In this week's Data Chat, DataCamp interviews David Stiffer. David is a professor of statistics at the University of Pittsburgh. David is the co-author of the book Time Series Analysis and its Applications, with R examples.
Russell, do you like ggplot2?
Definitely.
Brian Kappa in his YouTube channel, he talks about the use cases of ggplot2 and base R. Brian, welcome to our weekly. What do you think of ggplot2 and base R?
For me personally, I have kind of two use cases. I have my sort of research stuff where I'm programming and I'm working on these kind of complex data structures like in neuroimaging, and there I use base R almost exclusively. But then there's the second set of things where I'm doing more ordinary sort of data analysis. And then in that setting, I've mostly bought into the sort of tidyverse way of thinking. And I find it very useful for me. And in that case, when I've set my data up as a data frame, and I've really taken the energy and time to like restructure everything as a data frame, then I kind of buy into the whole system.
Thanks. Please check out Brian's YouTube channel for the complete video. Jeroen published a great guide of his R package, Mongo Lite. It is a great introduction about how to use MongoDB with R.
In this week's new packages, I really like the Cable Extra package. You can use default knitr cable for all simple tables, and then use Cable Extra to generate more complex, advanced, self-customized, beautiful tables in either HTML or LaTeX.
In this week's core project updates, grep function sets a maximal recursion limit. This reduces the chance of C-stack overflow, but because it is conservative, it may return a non-match with a warning in examples that succeeded before.
The deprecated support for PCRE versions older than 8.20 will be removed in R3.4.1.
There are more interesting content in our R Weekly website. R Weekly is on Twitter, Facebook and Patreon. Subscribe to our weekly podcast with your podcast app. Follow us on YouTube to get the latest podcast updates. You can send us feedback on About Page. Submit podcast segment with Submit Page. That is all of this week's podcast. See you next week.
Bye, Joanna, it is so fun.